The Fox Weather is also your Hurricane HQ, and the National Hurricane Center now indicating two areas to watch. One in the northeastern Gulf, the other in the eastern Atlantic. This one here has slightly a higher chance of development over the next 7 days. So we'll be watching this for a while. And historically, most of the tropical systems that do develop in May, they are a part of that homegrown threat kind of treatment. So that's what we're kind of watching play out right now. As I mentioned, this one here, 20% chance. But as we kind of look deeper into the entire basin, we do have another healthy wave that's coming in off of the Atlantic, across the Atlantic, off of the African coastline right now that we'll be watching too. That one has a slightly lighter chance of development, really, really low, but we'll still keep a close eye on it as this has been a very quiet basin in general. Now back closer to home, this is that time frame and the tropical threat percentage that we're watching. It's fairly low, as I mentioned. Notice that we do have this darker shading of blue here, so that's going to be an area that we'll have to watch closely. Western parts of Florida, the Panhandle, going into the weekend. Going into the weekend, we could see, regardless of a name, some tropical downpours and flash flooding threats. And we know that Florida has been dealing with significant drought. So that's going to be something else that I think may catch a lot of people off guard, especially as we get into the bulk of the weekend. Let's start you off Thursday. This is where we have the really developing moments of what could be a tropical system trying to get together. So we have this upper level disturbance that's going to sink to the south around that high pressure system. As it pushes into parts of, say, the Big Bend, it kind of nestles there in the Gulf. And that is going to be the prime time for this to become tropical, right? We have it sitting over the Gulf. Does it become a closed off low? Does it adopt any tropical characteristics? That would be that time frame that it would do it. And if it does, going into the weekend, we'll have to watch very closely, say, the Panhandle of Florida down towards western Florida, even as far south as Tampa. Now, we do have some limiting factors, so this is why this is a really half and half kind of scenario at the moment. Some of those limiting factors do include some dry air to the north. Around that area of low pressure, it's going to be pulling in that dry air. So that is actually something that would disrupt circulation and wouldn't allow this to be a closed off low or adopt those tropical characteristics. Another thing that we'll have to watch is whether or not this starts to interact with land quicker, and that prevents that development, or does it stay over the Gulf a little longer, and does that elongate that development as we head into the end of the weekend. A lot of the models do want to put this low somewhere in the Gulf. Some of them do have it on land. So that's one of the things that we'll have to continue to digest over the next couple of days. We've been watching the Euro, keeping a close eye on the GFS, and even some of the more newer AI models as well. But Sunday is going to be that deciding factor. And from there, we really watch this kind of play out. Regardless, as I mentioned, of a named storm, we will likely see some heavy downpours. Currently, the water temperatures across the Gulf, they are above average, so that would help with development very quickly. And then from there, we're off to the races. Monday and into Tuesday, that tropical moisture finds its way across parts of the southeast parts of Carolinas, and back towards the North Carolina could be two areas that we really have to watch, Steve, going into early next week. So we'll keep a close eye on things. We're still in the really early stages, though.